Rstv, bringing you the news as it is.
On the news this afternoon, FG urges World Bank to expedite loan approval, release of project funds. Senate amends the Electoral Act to clarify jurisdiction in election disputes. Plus, Nigeria pledges to strengthen bilateral cooperation with India. Good afternoon and welcome to the news at 3. I am Catherine Ago. Rivers State is the treasure base of the nation. Let's build and take her to greater heights. This is the task we must accomplish. You can watch our news live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Rstv. You can also subscribe and click on the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. The Rivers State Universal Basic Education Board has organized a 2-day orientation program for 1,000 newly recruited teachers in Port Harcourt. Speaking at the event, the chairman of the board, Honorable Samuel Oge, urged the teachers to comply with civil service rules and demonstrate professionalism, diligence and integrity in the discharge of their duties. Emmanuel Emignon reports that the orientation program was designed to equip the newly employed teachers with the knowledge and skills needed for effective service delivery in the education sector. Take a look.
Honorable Oge said the orientation is a vital process in the educational system as it introduces newly recruited teachers to the vision, culture, policies and expectations of their new workplace, serving as a bridge between recruitment and effective professional performance. He maintained that orientation is not merely a formal procedure, but a foundation for success, confidence and productivity, and encouraged the teachers to use their wealth of experience to help shape children into responsible members of society. The chairman commended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara for successfully implementing the teachers' recruitment process, which began in 2023 and has now become a reality, urging the new teachers to justify the confidence reposed in them.
I want to advise you today, amongst your colleagues who applied for this job, 1,000 of you seated or thereabouts seated there may not be the most qualified. You agree with me? But only 1,000 of you are here seated as privileged to be chosen and exalted. But I want to advise you, if you think this is small, I can tell you that if you lose this, some of you there have been applicants for more than 10 years. This program started 2023 and they're here today. So there is a possibility that if you lose this, you may not get another one.
In his goodwill message, Rivers State Commissioner for Education, Dr. Peter Swago, described the recruitment of teachers as a significant investment by the Rivers State government in the future of children and overall development of the state. He noted that the newly recruited teachers were stepping into a noble profession that requires not only academic competence, but also moral uprightness, discipline, and unwavering commitment to service, noting that the Ministry of Education would continue to partner the board to provide the necessary support, professional development, and enabling environment for teachers to thrive.
Knowledge, values, and discipline you impart will shape the character and future contributions of these children to Rivers State and the nation.
Delivering the keynote address, Dr. Fineface Aka admonished the teachers to see their appointment as a call to purpose rather than merely a civil service job. He observed that many civil servants often move from ministry or department to another without fully committing themselves to the teaching profession, and enjoined the new teachers to reflect on how far they had come and remain dedicated to their responsibilities as educators.
It is something very peculiar that made me confirm that really you came out to be teachers. Rivers State has never had it this way with any regime of new staff. in the process of recruitment. You are very peculiar people.
The orientation program also highlighted the importance of familiarizing teachers with the school system's mission, goals, code of conduct, and academic expectations to enable them align their teaching method with institutional objectives. Emmanuel Emenyonu, Rstv News.
Tertiary education system in Nigeria should be restructured, well-funded by the federal and state governments, while the recruitment exercise be based on merit to enhance national development. Those were some recommendations provided by Professor Nleru Mokobule in his lecture delivered at the 44th Convocation Lecture of the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Rumolumini, on the topic, Restructuring Tertiary Education for Sustainable National Development. Gaspar Anele reports that the event featured a award presentation to deserving dignitaries and junior staff of the institution for their hard work.
Professor Okobule, who also recommended that administrators of tertiary institutions must exhibit a high level of dynamism, transparency, and commitment in the management of human and material resources available to their institutions, said adoption of creative and innovative approaches can assist them secure funding support from the national donor agencies, improve external research grant funds, and attract more alumni support for their activities. The convocation lecturer appealed to the Rivers State Governor, Siminala Ifobara, to propose a bill for the establishment of a College of Education to the State House of Assembly for approval to avoid losing the annual third fund allocation formula for colleges of education in the country. According to him, Nigerians must take their destiny in their hands to ensure that tertiary institutions become agents of change and creativity.
I'm saying that there is need for us to place more emphasis on merits. I want to use the opportunity to urge the visitor of this university, His Excellencies and Sister to present a bill to the Rivers State House of Assembly for the establishment of the College of Education University. We cannot continue to lose what we are supposed to get from the federal courts, where they are contributing to life.
Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the University Governing Council, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, who was also a recipient of the award, enjoined the academia to do the best they can to change the narrative of corruption in the Nigerian universities for all-round development.
We must change. Let's invite the and ensure that Ignatius Ajuru University of Education sees that today, by tomorrow, by the grace of God, change become
Acting Vice Chancellor of Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Professor Okechukwu Onuchukwu, who dissected the lecture, expressed satisfaction with the in-depth research by Professor Okobule and appealed to government at all levels to adopt the valuable recommendations to better tertiary institutions in the country.
First of all, we should totally restructure the system by putting adequate funding in the university system and other tertiary institutions to make them solid and give them the stand to teach and research in order to grow, the society. He also made, recommendation in proliferation of higher institutions all over the place. Our regulatory bodies keep giving, licenses to so many universities, so many polytechnics to operate, and that has led to a situation where the standard of education has even, diminished the more.
God's Power Anele, Rstv News.
The federal government has urged World Bank to speed up the approval and release of project funds meant for Nigeria, warning that delays could affect the country's willingness to continue with some funding arrangements. Accountant General of the Federation, Shamsuddin Babatunde Ogujimi, made the appeal during a meeting with a delegation from the World Bank led by Tridlane in Abuja. A statement issued by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation and signed by Bawa Mokwa, Director of Press and Public Relations, Ogunjimi said Nigeria deserves faster processing of funding requests because the facilities involved are loans that must be repaid and not grants. The Accountant General will explain that delayed approvals often affect the implementation of government development programs and projects tied to the facilities, urged the bank to shorten its approval timelines and ensure quicker disbursement of funds to support Nigeria's economic and development priorities. The Accountant General also informed the delegation that the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation had already started addressing issues previously raised by the World Bank, especially matters relating to public financial management and audit reporting. He disclosed that the 2023 audit report would be submitted to the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation within 2 weeks. Ogunjimi added that work had already commenced on the preparation of the 2024-2025 audit reports as part of efforts to improve accountability and transparency in public finance management. Senate has passed an amendment to the 2026 electoral bill seeking to establish a clearer legal framework for the handling of pre-election disputes ahead of the next general elections. The bill was passed during plenary following the presentation and consideration of the report by the Senate Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission, chaired by Simon Lalong. The proposed legislation amends Section 29 of the Electoral Act and introduces a new Section 29A aimed at addressing lingering jurisdictional disputes in the adjudication of pre-election matters. Leading the debate on the report, Senator Lalong said the amendment became necessary due to persistent legal and constitutional controversies surrounding the interpretation of pre-election cases by courts across the country. He explained that despite the provisions of Section 285, subsection 14 of the 1999 Constitution defining pre-election matters, conflicting interpretations by courts had continued to create uncertainty in Nigeria's electoral jurisprudence. Lalong described the provisions as both practical and equitable, noting that it would reduce hardship on litigants and improve access to justice. Following passage of the bill, Senate President Godswill Akpabio commended Lalong and members of the committee for their work. Rivers State is the treasure base of the nation. Let's build and take it to greater heights. This is the task we must accomplish. You can watch our news live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at RSTVPH. Remember, you can also subscribe and click on the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. Ahead on the news, ships in Strait of Hormuz remain stranded amid hopes of U.S.-Iran deal, plus NFF appoints new Golden Eaglets, Flying Eagles coaches. These and more stories when we return. Stay tuned.
I just want your papers, please.
Sir.
Salary don't enter. Eh? Yes, so. And month never even reach that. Na salary plenty, oh. No wonder I no gree collect roja from my hand. Shut up, sir. I'm here to bail my younger brother.
Happen.
With good laws,
Proper funding, training,
and cooperation,
if it happen.
This is Rstv World News. We bring you world-class news, accurate, first-hand, entertaining, balanced analysis. Rstv, Channel 22 Port Harcourt.
Hey, welcome back. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Dunoma Ahmed, has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to strengthen bilateral cooperation with India. Ahmed stated this during a meeting with the High Commissioner of India to Nigeria, Abhishek Singh, at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. A statement issued by Akimiebi Ebienfa, the ministry spokesman, said Ahmed expressed appreciation to Singh for the cordial relations between Nigeria and India. According to him, both countries are strategic partners united by shared democratic values and common aspirations for sustainable development and South-South cooperation. Ahmed reiterated Nigeria's interest in increased Indian investments in key sectors of the economy, particularly manufacturing, agriculture, mining, renewable energy, and local value addition. Earlier, Singh briefed Ahmed about preparations for the BRICS foreign ministers meeting slated for May 14 to 15 at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. Meanwhile, the India-Africa Forum Summit is expected to convene African leaders and senior officials later in the month. And on the foreign scene, hundreds of ships and thousands of mariners are still stranded at the Strait of Hormuz as Iran controls the route, causing disruption to the global economy. Iran effectively seized control of the critical waterway for global energy after the United States and Israel attacked it on 28 February. Weeks of heavy bombing and a U.S. naval blockade imposed last month have yet to loosen its grip. Iran says it will only reopen the strait if the war ends and the blockade is lifted. However, U.S. President Donald Trump is seeking wider concessions, including on Iran's nuclear program. According to the U.S. military, there are 1,550 vessels from 87 countries currently stranded in the Persian Gulf, and that only 2 ships were successfully guided through the strait as part of Project Freedom. Meanwhile, United Nations World Food Program has said 45 million people could experience hunger, mostly in Asia and Africa, if the strait does not open soon. And in sports, the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) has announced the appointments of Abdul Makeba and Eboborise Uwejamomere as head coaches of the men's national under-20 and under-17 boys national team, respectively. Makeba and Uwejamomere appointments followed the reshuffling of the backroom of all age grade national football teams. Makeba, who has managed several of Nigeria's prestigious clubs, has also previously coached on the 17 boys national team, known as the Golden Eaglets, while Uwejamomere, the new head coach of 5-time world champions Gold Eaglets, have served as coach